Okay, Canada, let's talk about these fucking bullshit pension plans because you're getting some really fucked up information from all the media pundits and the editorial boards from all the establishment media in Canada. I mean, let's be completely objective here. No, forget political ideology. This is something that I've learned to do, and a lot of the rest of you really need to. You need to put all the bullshit, all the propaganda that you've been taught, all the divide and conquer routines that the politicians, central planners, control freaks, and sociopaths, all that shit they've implanted in your head through, many years during your education process, out and about in any other realm that you frequent on a regular basis, where people keep putting forth this message. They regurgitate and repeat the propagandist message. It's time for you to think for yourself. Now, this is in regards to Ontario, the Liberal government in Ontario. Now, think about it here. Look how I've already covered the video, or anyone that pays any attention, how Ontario, one small province, it's a good size one of the bigger provinces in Canada, and economically and geographically is larger than some of the other ones, but it's just one province, right? How they're now trying to roll out, the Liberal government, trying to roll out their own Ontario pension plan. Now, there's already a Canadian pension plan, so if you're Canadian, you already have a Ponzi scheme. I mean a pension plan in place where the government gets to take money from you, whether you've agreed to it or not, of course, because that's the thing. It's not like you signed a contract. They just come up with an idea, make it law, steal from your paycheck or your employer's portion of your paycheck, whatever, and call it a law and say, oh, they agreed to it, right? Anyways, regardless. But they already have created a Ponzi scheme, and you're seeing now where all the people that thought they were going to retire, a lot of the boomers, well, they're all back working because, central planners, the ones they trusted to take care of them in their old age, fucked up, spent all the money, and look at how indebted. I mean, like I said, Ontario, one province in Canada, is indebted to the tune of double what California is in the U.S., and California has more of a population than all of Canada combined. The entire country of Canada has less population than one state in the United States. But yet Ontario, which is one province of the entire country of Canada, is indebted more than that one state to the tune of double. And yet they want to create their own Ontario pension plan. I mean, any fucking idiot, other than if you work for government, which wouldn't matter, right? Because it doesn't matter. I mean, if government takes a little bit if government steals from the private productive members of society and gives you a paycheck, which means that's what it means to work for the government, even if they take a little portion of that back to give you more on the back end, more promises or more dividends on the back end in the terms of, or in the meaning of a pension plan, the only people that obviously would benefit from that would be the public sector, the government workers, the cronies, right? The corporatists. The average Canadian, the taxpayer, the wage earner, the wage slave, that means they're double dipping on you, man. They're double dipping on you. They're forcing you to pay for two pensions, and you'll probably still never see fucking any of that. If you're not outraged by this, then you're ill-informed, ignorant, or part of the government or part of the system. That's the only three options that I can see. I mean, you could try to toss them out, and when I make these videos, there's a reason why there's a comment section below. Comment. If you got anything to say that's against what I'm suggesting, fucking spill your beans, and I'll go toe-to-toe to you. We'll see who comes out on top. We'll see who's being honest, objective, using logic, reason, and consistency, universality, and morals, and ethics. We'll see. Most of you won't, and I see this. Actually, none of you will even try, because you'll fucking look stupid. But here we go with this editorial board from the Toronto Star. And really, I mean, the Toronto Star, I mean, jeez, really? But anyways, Ontario is right to push ahead with pension reform editorial. It's bad enough that the Conservative government has rebutted every call from the provinces to bolster Canadians' retirement security by expanding the Canada pension plan. It's much worse that it is actively trying to torpedo attempts by Ontario to set up its own pension plan to fill the widening gap in what many need for a decent retirement. Like I said, so Ottawa doesn't have to approve Ontario's efforts to strengthen retirement security for middle-income workers. It may even find that Wynn's government's plans. It may even find the Wynn government's plans objectionable. But to go out of its way to strangle the NACE Ontario Retirement Pension Plan, ORPP, in its cradle is a calculated slap in the face to the province. Like I said, okay, this is the editorial board from the Star. So you know these fucks have no idea what it... They have no grasp or concept or understanding what the private people, the wage earners, have to deal with because they're part of the crony system. No wonder the two governments have dropped the gloves in the opening days of the federal election campaign, with Wynne openly calling for the defeat of the Conservatives, and no wonder the Premier is pressing ahead by announcing more details on how she plans to phase in the ORPP starting in January 17. I mean, if you want to read this, I just, it's fucking sickening, to be honest with you. It's the Star editorials on Ontario is right to push ahead with pension reform editorial. It's in the opinion/editorial section of the Toronto Star for the date Tuesday, August 11, 2015. So you go right ahead and read that. But let me just forget about the propaganda. Let me just speak open, frank, and honest with you. You really need to learn to take care of yourself. You really need to learn to reject central planning, forced subjugation, coercion, and mysticism as the basis for us all to exist. Because as you're seeing, I mean, you know, rhetoric is one thing. Look at the reality that's playing out before your eyes. Are you starting to realize that propagandists, you know, the salespeople in government, that none of the shit they put forth are ever going to pan out? I mean, think about it. Ontario being the world's most indebted sub-sovereign. This has already been proven factually. The number crunchers speak. No politics involved. Numbers are numbers, right? Ontario has shown to be the world leader in failing models as far as economics goes. Yet they want to create their own pension Ponzi scheme. I mean pension scheme. No, it's a Ponzi scheme. And look at the propagandists. Look at the arm of, like, look at how they're trying to make this seem like it's legit. Come on, Canada. Come on, Ontarians. Are you really that fucking stupid? I mean, I think back to, like, all the idiots that fall for all the bullshit narratives that the left central planners, whether it's, you know, Hitler, Mussolini, Mao, Stalin, Lenin, all these collectivist ideologies, they're failing models. And this will be proven at some point in time to be the same in line with the same bullshit. But yet people want to keep propagating this shit. Well, not normal people. The people that get to benefit from using the force of government to steal from their fellow man, woman, and child. You got to really stop allowing this shit to happen. I mean, have some pride, self-esteem, some self-respect. Stop bowing your head and yielding to these fucking moronic central planners and control freaks. I mean, looks don't mean everything, obviously, But have you seen this Kathleen Wynne fucking bag fucking thing here? Have you seen her? Really? I mean, and listen to the rhetoric she puts out. This is someone that you want to fucking trust? Her and her fucking cronies or her fucking, loyal, obedient fucking serfs? These are the fucking people you want to create another whole tax Ponzi scheme? Because that's what it is. I mean, they're going to be taking more of your money and saying, oh, don't worry, we'll give it back to you later, much, 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 much later. But they're going to enjoy it. Think about it. If you could do that for the millions of people in Ontario, think of how much that's going to enrich the fucking central planners. But don't worry, we'll give it back to you later, even though we won't be in power. Think about what they're saying. This Kathleen, do you think that when the boomers and stuff, like what they say, it's going to start paying out in 2022 and stuff, how much you want to bet that neither her or anyone in her political party is going to have any say or anything to do with how this is paying out? But yet they're making all these promises to you. Could you imagine if I said, oh, give me a whole bunch of money and I'm going to set up this fucking thing to make sure you get lots of it back. Actually, more money back than you give in. I'm going to give you more back than you give in, magically. But by the way, there's about a 90 to 95% chance, or a fairly substantial chance, that I wouldn't be around in position of power or authority to fucking dictate any of this shit. But I'll promise you anyways. Wink, wink. How fucking stupid you got to be to fall for this shit? Canada, Ontario, or anyone else in any fucking province. Stop falling for these central planning initiatives. It's complete propaganda. It makes you look worse than even the fucking, some of them late night 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, those infomercials, those stupid half hour fucking where they put on this thing trying to sell you fucking some retarded ass shit. But at least it's voluntary in that thing where it's like, you would get to decide whether you buy that shit or not, right? Even if you think, well, I want to buy that ShamWow or whatever these stupid fucking things are, you still ultimately have the choice of whether you want to buy into that shit or not. When it comes to government, it doesn't matter what your opinion is. They're going to force you into it, regardless, because they're the central planners. They have the power of the gun, government, right, to back them up. And yet you're still going to try to sit back and allow this to happen and think something good's going to come out of it? Well, people like myself will be more than willing to sit here and watch you fucking delve into that shit and that cesspool and point out the fact that all it did is make you smell like fucking shit. You thought it was fun before you dove into it, but really once you were dove into it and swimming around in it, even when you come back out of it, you still smell like shit. And I'll point that out to you if you want to continue smelling like shit all the time. Stay libertarian. And yeah, fucking better believe I love liberty.